So we've got a lot to get into. So Kate, let's start with you. What do you think about this episode? These episodes?
These episodes, yeah, both part one and part two. These are so great. This is our catalyst into the whole rest of the series. These two episodes. This is the groundwork for like, okay, we're setting up the ending, where we're going, so you know exactly what kind of journey we're going on. These two are big foundational blocks, even though some people claim part one is mostly a filler. I want to fight them. It's our spirit world introduction.
It's like you were just saying, it lays such a foundation for like one of the biggest parts of the lore besides bending, right?
Yeah.
Like, is the spirit world is the other thing. like
we don't hear about that in any other, barely. Like it's maybe mentioned like, oh, the spirits or something. Or
yeah, but we really like get into it here and actually
that these are spirits are like they're gods almost.
Yeah.
This is what we're seeing in here. And also fun fact, I have to see what the award was, but this episode won like an environmentalism award.
That's amazing.
Just this episode alone. And I think that's just so cool.
I love it whenever kids' cartoons get recognized on that level or like with things like that. It's so cool to see like a Saturday morning cartoon. I assume this aired on Saturday mornings. I don't know because I did not watch it originally. I
don't remember what day it was. I just remember it was always on. But anyways, it won like an environmentalism award, which I think is so cool because the first part one touches really big on environmentalism. And like, you know, there's the theme of the panda, which is the WWF World Wildlife Fund or Foundation.
Yeah. Foundation.
Yeah. That's like their symbol.
Yeah.
I was like, what is it again? Okay. But yeah. So that's what I think is also very cool about this episode. Besides the fact that
never even put that together. Can't lie. I did not make that connection.
I only really just thought about that. I was like, oh yeah, the panda is really the symbol for.
It makes so much sense, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course.
Now that we think about it. So in this episode, we meet Hey Bye, our first spirit.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Because all the other animals and stuff are just regular.
Or just regular animals. This is our first spirit we meet. And he's the spirit of the forest. Fun fact, Hey Bai means, or in Chinese, it means black, white. So Hey, black, Bai, white. Which I just think is great.
Black and white. And then we also got
it's black and white.
Yeah.
Like a panda bear too.
Yeah.
And the character design, actually, a fun fact, again, for my anime fans, I like to talk about this weekly. Hey Bai, the big creature, version? when he's in the monster version, is inspired by one of the angels from Neon Genesis Evangelion, and I think it's either the third or the seventh angel. Both very similar, but it's very heavily inspired by that. So I think that's very cool.
See that, even that, like I have a very like I haven't seen any of that, but like I've seen art or stills or whatever stuff just like online from the show, and I can definitely I can definitely picture like that type of style and like
being mimicked here.
Yeah, like I can see the inspiration definitely.
And I just do love that how throughout these episodes you really see their love for animation and their love for anime as an art, and how much they pull from it.
No, it's awesome.
So it's very cool. Let's go by this episode play by play. So we start with the gang, beautiful kalimba music. I do always love that most of the episodes start and end with that. They see the destruction of the forest and they realize, they point out too that it's Fire Nation that does it.
Which again, it's deforestation. We see them more
deforestation,
like taking the resources of the lands, like they're just continuing their march across everything, and like how they ruin everything.
How they ruin everything in their path. Yeah. And I think it's described in the live action as a show of power, I think, or they just did it because
they could. Yeah.
Because they could. But I think in this, they describe it as it's like it's a, I don't know why they do it. I think it's
well, I think you have
their territory.
I think it's partially that, but I think it also, like, because of where we just came from with imprisoned, like we know that they exploit the land for its resources. So like it's just continuing that theme that we just saw, which again in the live action one we didn't get because we didn't get that episode. But so like you have that already in your head. You're like, oh, this is just another way that they're exploiting the land and stealing resources. Like it just
and not caring about the world that they're in, not respecting it. They just want to trample over it and rule it.
Yeah. They just want to conquer.
They just want to conquer.
Terrible.
Terrible. So, and then in this episode, we're back to the format of hopping between Zuko and Iroh and the gang. So right after we see the forest, we hop back to Zuko and Iroh in the bamboo forest. Iroh's chilling in a hot spring. He heat him by himself. I love there's a little line Zuko says where Iroh's like, hop in, you know, melt your troubles away. And Zuko's like, my troubles cannot be soaked away.
He's
just so funny. He's a dramatic teenage boy.
I love too, before cutting to them, like whenever they come across the burnt forest, you again really see and get an example of Aang feeling incredibly guilty about being gone for so long. He's like, this, it's my fault that this happened. Like, if I was here, I could have done something, and like I was supposed to protect this. Bless you. The mic didn't pick it up.
The quietest sneeze I ever had. That was wild.
But like, yeah, you really see that guilt again, like bubbling in him, being like, this is my responsibility. I need to do something about this, which I think is really cool to see that coming to the surface more for him, and like pushing him further to like him knowing that he has these responsibilities that he needs to be responsible about.
Like he really is starting to feel the weight of it all. And it is a heavy weight to lift.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. And he's 12. Like,
and he's 12. At 12, I couldn't even handle homework. Like,
right? Yeah, let alone stopping deforestation. Like,
yeah, it's like saving the world.
Yeah. It's interesting that Iroh uses steam from his nose to heat the hot spring.
Yes.
And like, we were talking about it a little bit last episode, but the different subdivisions of bending and what, like, where the lines are, as opposed to
steam is water, but I guess they're just using.
I guess he's just using like low heat.
Yeah, just straight
and so it just becomes steam because of the water that comes off. I guess will probably be how it works. It's just like,
because I heard, didn't somebody say that firebending is like they warm the molecules?
Yeah,
it's not like just fire, it's warming the.
Yeah, it's like actual like heat itself as opposed to fire. It just in most instances comes out as fire, because that's, you know, the like go-to thing, I think, is how that would work or make sense. But yeah,
because like Iroh does heat up like his tea when it's in his hands, like
which makes sense, because you're like, I mean, if you can shoot fire out of your hands, I assume that you can just like warm stuff up. Yeah, that would like go. But yeah, it's just a super interesting thing, and that's again them just like using the bending in an interesting way.
All right, and then Iroh's naked, and I love this little bit they do that I'm like funny. Actually shocked for a kid's show that I was like, they got away with that. That's great.
Yeah, it's funny.
Then we cut back to the gang in the forest. Katara tries to cheer up Aang we actually see this early on, which this solves kind of the problem in this whole episode, that Katara's like, there's acorns, so the forest will grow back. And that is what happens with real forest fires, that acorns do fall from trees, and that's how the forest regrows.
Yeah.
And then an old man approaches them, and then he asks for help in his village. And then we see that this village is completely torn up from this monster Heibai that attacks and abducts a couple of their own. We also learn in this scene that the winter solstice means that the spirit and the real world grows closer.
Yeah.
And that also Aang said that there was nobody to teach him about the spirit world or any of that. So he doesn't know any information about the spirit world, even though he's supposed to be the expert on it.
Which
the Avatar
scene, we get like so much again here. One, I love the character moment of like the dude being like, "You're the Avatar," and Aang looks to Katara for confirmation to like and she like nods, and he's like, "Yeah," which is just so.
I didn't catch that.
As he literally like before he is like, yes, he like looks at her and she nods, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm the Avatar," and like it's just such a cute little thing where like it's good. It's good character stuff.
Like he really trusts her, and
yeah, it's just a small thing. He's like, is this the right thing to do in this situation? She's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, yeah. And so that's cool. And then also learning that like Aang is like, I have no clue about any of the spirit world stuff.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a 12-year-old kid. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, nah, I know I'm supposed to know this, but I don't.
Yeah, but I guess I'll figure it out. Spoiler alert, he does.
Yeah, which is great.
Anyways, now we cut back to Iroh. He fell asleep in the hot tub, and Earthbenders capture him, which looks painful. There's like all the pointy rocks jagged,
and no thanks.
And naked, ouch. Then I do love that the Earthbenders, they do notice that he is the Fire Lord's brother, and they know his face. I think that's interesting. And we learn that he has this nickname, the Dragon of the West.
Yes,
which is sick cool nickname.
Yeah,
we don't hear that before, right? I think Zhao uses it.
Yeah, Zhao probably does. He probably says something about like the famous Dragon of the West or the famed Dragon of the West.
I actually don't think he says. He says, I know we're talking about the same scene, I think, but they're at the port.
He mentions laying siege to Ba Sing Se. I know.
Yes.
It's like what? Because he's like trying to be like demeaning about it because he's like he gave up and stuff. But I can't remember.
I don't know if he says Dragon of the West or not.
Interesting.
But interesting thing. But we learned that that's his nickname, and it's a sick nickname.
Yeah,
I want that tattoo on my back.
Or it's reemphasized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the village. The sun is setting. Aang's waiting for Heibai. Heibai shows up, wreaks havoc. He destroys the buildings. And then Aang tries to calm him down, and he has like this Godzilla moment, Heibai, where is it laser? Whatever it is.
It's just pure energy. He just like
pure energy comes from his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sick.
And I thought it was cool. It kind of looked like a Godzilla moment. And I'm wondering if that's, they kind of do have a couple, homages to Godzilla in this show, which will come at the season finale for this show. And then Sokka goes to help, runs straight after him, which I love. Shows great character work for Sokka, that he's brave. He will run head and first against a giant spirit beast.
It's like continuation of even from, I don't remember, I think it was episode 2 probably, but like whenever he stands down in front of the Fire Nation ship, like against all, like he continues to show that like in the moments that it counts, like he will stand there and he is brave and like he'll go into it, like, which is great. It's just awesome stuff from him, even though he can't do anything. He just has his little boomerang.
And he tries.
Yeah, he tries his hardest.
He's so good, but he gets abducted. Now we're back to Zuko for a super quick cutaway. He looks for Iroh, and then I do like that Zuko deduces that he was taken by Earthbenders, because he says something where he's like, the rocks moved in an unnatural way. Yeah. And I just think that's a great way to show how smart he is.
It's funny because like the soldiers with him are like, oh, there was like a landslide or something. And he's like, rocks don't slide like uphill.
Uphill. Yes, that was it.
I'm like, yeah, there you go, Zuko.
There you go.
Paying attention.
As a kid, though, I was like, oh my God. I'm like,
no, it's
shit,
good.
Sherlock.
We love to see it, though.
We love to see it. And now we're quick back to Aang. Heibai disappears with Sokka, and Aang, as he's chasing him, gets led to the bear statue. So he's sitting in front of there. Quick back to Zuko again. I don't realize like how quick we flash back between these two storylines. It's
wild. It does it so quickly.
So quick.
It's because they keep on. It makes sense too. It's a good use of the pacing where like you're not with anything for an extended period of time, but you get so much information like so quickly, and it just keeps it moving. It's like
it moves so fast.
It's really impressive. I would love to like know what the conversations were like in the like editing of them, and like how they decided to, because like obviously they have to. I mean, I have to assume. I say obviously. I don't know how they did it.
I was like,
I have to assume that they had the sections animated separately, and then had to decide how exactly to like
what to cut
them.
in. Hey, Aspect listener, enjoying the show?
Then be sure to subscribe here on The Aspect so you never miss an episode.
And check out more episodes and clips on our playlist here.
Thanks so much for watching, and...
Lameo Hot Man.